Ever felt like you're searching for home even when you're right where you grew up? That's a feeling a lot of us know, but few talk about openly.
That hits close to home for me too. I'm excited to dig deeper into why some people feel they belong, while others feel like outsiders even in their own country.
Exactly. Today, we're unraveling the mystery of belonging. What makes us feel rooted, and what can make us feel like strangers on familiar ground.
We'll share personal stories, explore social and self-estrangement, and ask how nostalgia for a lost home can shape our sense of identity. Plus, we'll talk about ways to reconnect.
Let's start by asking, what does belonging really mean? And why does it matter so much to us all?
The word belonging sounds simple, but it's such a layered feeling. For some, it's about family and roots. For others, it's about shared values or a common language.
I think it's those invisible threads, customs, inside jokes, that sense you're understood without having to explain yourself.
But here's the twist. Sometimes you can have all those things and still feel a little out of place. Has that ever happened to you?
Plenty of times. I've been at gatherings where everyone shares my background, but I still feel like I'm not quite in sync. It makes me wonder what else shapes our sense of home.
What surprises me most is how powerful nostalgia can be sometimes. I find myself missing a version of home that might not even exist anymore except in my mind.
That's so true. It's almost like we build a mental image of home based on memories and hopes, not just reality. And when our surroundings change, we can feel even more adrift.
Exactly, and that longing can be bittersweet. It's comforting, but also a reminder that we can't always return to the way things were, no matter how much we want to.
And yet, that imagined home pulls us back, shapes what we seek in our relationships and communities. It's fascinating how the past lives on inside us.
It gets even trickier when the people around you seem to move on or dream in a different direction. Suddenly, you're surrounded but you feel alone.
That disconnect can be tough. I've noticed it most when my priorities or values clash with those around me, like what matters most just isn't shared.
Sometimes it's subtle, like realizing you see the future differently than your friends or family. Other times, it's more obvious you can feel out of step with the whole community.
It's a special kind of loneliness, isn't it? Being physically present, but mentally or emotionally elsewhere.
Let's talk about another layer when you start changing yourself just to fit in. That's what really weighs heavy, at least for me.
I get that. There's something exhausting about pretending your values or ideas are different, just to avoid standing out.
And sometimes, you end up feeling like a stranger to yourself. It's one thing to feel out of place in a group, but it's another to feel out of place in your own skin.
That's the loneliest kind of alienation, I think. The kind where you hide what matters most because you don't see space for it around you.
What helps me is seeking out spaces or people where I can be honest about who I am, even if it's just one trusted friend or a small community.
That actually reminds me of a time I reconnected with an old friend who shared my values. It made a huge difference in easing that feeling of being adrift.
Sometimes the smallest act's a real conversation. Joining a group with similar interests can start to rebuild that sense of home, even if everything else is changing.
And maybe belonging isn't about finding a perfect fit, but about finding places where we can show up as ourselves, even if it takes some searching.
Let's wrap up with what stands out. First, everyone's story with belonging and alienation is uniquely personal. There's no single answer.
Second, nostalgia for a lost home is powerful, but it can also hold us back if we don't find ways to reconnect in the present.
And third, the hardest alienation is when we hide our true selves, so finding even one place or person to be genuine makes all the difference.
If you're feeling out of place, reach out, try a conversation, join a group, or just share your story. You might be surprised at who truly understands. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.